In a world of movie references flying over his head, one man will finally watch them. This is the Matt and Blonde Show movie review.
This week's movie review is the 1993 prehistoric revival thriller Jurassic Park, in which two paleontologists visit to verify the safety of a developing de-extinct dinosaur park does everything but, as a disgruntled employee disables park security and everyone fights for survival. Of course, this is the first time in the history of the movie review segment that I made the movie nominations and Jurassic Park won the vote. So, from movie picker me, I hadn't seen the original in 15 plus years, but Jurassic Park inspired a love of dinosaurs in my young mind. Because of this movie, I wanted to be a paleontologist when I grew up, until my dad took me to a dig in South Dakota, and it was so boring, I changed my mind and became a podcaster instead. And I can already tell by the look on your face, I have not heard anything about your opinion of this movie, but are you going to break my 10-year-old heart? Proceed.
Yeah. First, I know this movie is universally beloved. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the audience. I'm sorry for you, but this movie sucked my balls. I should have liked it.
You've seen it before, right? Or is this
No,
okay,
I have not seen it.
That's right.
Before.
You mentioned that. First time.
The CGI, great for its time. Great. I liked the family things and the themes, and then them coming to the realization they actually wanted children. They had like a perfect age gap. Those two, perfect age gap. When she was 23 and he was like 50, on the money.
Yeah.
Coming to the realization they wanted children, they were good with children, everything like that. I like that. I like these themes of tampering with nature. But I just hated it. I hated it so much. Maybe it was having to see Laura Dern's face up close.
All right,
so
I accept
much.
that. Fair criticism.
And Jeff Goldblum's face. Oh. And maybe it was this forced child acting. I was just bored. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You know what really got me, though? I'm supposed to believe that is it Jeff Goldberg or Goldblum? Goldblum. I'm supposed to believe that he is the purveyor of like all instincts of the natural world and universal order. And he's so philosophical. And I'm also supposed to believe that Laura Dern wants to bang Jeff Goldberg.
But were his points wrong? No,
he was right. Yeah. I just hate his face, and I wish they would have cast somebody else, but Steven Spielberg can't help himself. Maybe it's just that I didn't see it as a child. Is that it?
I think that was about as perfect of a casting decision as possible. I think that was actually really well performed, personally. I think it, and we actually watched The Lost World after the sequel because I hadn't seen that in forever too. And it's funny how that character and that performance doesn't necessarily carry over. Of course, Jurassic Park's returns diminish drastically over time, but I wanted to relive that. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have additional thoughts?
No, I mean, it's maybe I just didn't see it as a child, and that's I have no nostalgia to back up any loving of this film. This is my Blade Runner. I'm sorry, guys. 1 out of 5.
Well, 1 out of 5. Whew.
I hated it. I just hated this movie. I hated it so much. I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe we could agree on hate for the sequels. Maybe someday we can unite on that. But of course, just because I liked a movie in the past doesn't mean that I love a movie today. So I go into it with the same open and critical mind that I'd watch any other movie. And like I said, I hadn't seen this in 15 plus years.
Did you still love it?
Oh, I did. I still loved it. And almost every scene is a legendary scene. There are very few scenes here that are wastes of time or that don't have value. Every single one has become a massive cultural reference, a meme, something that other movies have tried to imitate. You could list them all. The clever girl trap, the raptor stalking in the kitchen, the T-Rex attack, even the arrival when they first see the brachiosauruses, and just the sight of the dinosaurs originally is such a cool moment for dinosaurs to be brought to life in a way they hadn't previously. So you mentioned the CGI. That's the cool thing about this, though, is it was actually mostly puppetry. It was by the T-Rex is almost exclusively puppet work. Even the raptors It was a 6-foot raptor puppet and humans in a raptor costume. Now, there is a lot of CGI for the giant dinosaurs.
It really held up, though.
The effects are incredible. And I've ripped Stan Winston's work in Terminator. I've praised it in Predator and others. This, to me, is Stan Winston's best ever work, and you can't change my mind. I think this is about the pinnacle of what might be sort of a passing art of practical effects. I actually thought that it was all but perfectly cast. And I talked about Goldblum. I think he did a great job. I thought Sam Neill as Alan Grant was perfect. But the underrated one is Wayne Knight as Dennis Nedry, the obese computer systems manager for the park. And he's just so perfectly cast for that role. It's something that I didn't see as a kid, because all I cared about as the kid was dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are very cool, but this character, Dennis, is so crucial. He's responsible for the entire event. And he reveals a very important truth. It's no matter how smart you are, no matter how smart you think you are, you disrespect the importance of physical strength in the natural world, you're going to find out. And he finds out. The soundtrack. I mean, I joke at myself in the review, and it sounds, totally lame, but I've heard that song a million times. I listened to a live performance of it. John Williams, who did Star Wars and Jaws and a bunch of famous movie soundtracks. I listened to it. It still gives me chills. I think it is a good soundtrack. Yeah. I think it's possibly the best movie theme ever written. And of course, as an adult, I also appreciate a lot of the themes that are expressed here about man's futile efforts to control nature. Right. And a lot of the questioning, even if you don't like Jeff Goldblum, and even if you don't like Laura Dern, I guess. But Laura Dern's character Ellie even has that conversation with Hammond. You thought you had control over nature was the illusion the entire time. And I could talk for another 10 minutes about how that applies to so many current news stories. We think we can control nature. We think that there's anything but destruction in trying to do that. Incredible commentary there. Now, I did notice a lot more plot holes or conceptual flaws as an adult. And I don't think that this ruins the movie for me, but just some things that were silly. The ultra safe explorer and the T-Rex attack scene, like it has T-Rex jaw-proof glass on the ceiling, Then the car, the explorer tumbles off the edge into the tree. So Timmy's in the car, not seatbelted, gets in a head-on collision with a tree. He's fine. It gets even more absurd when they climb out, and instead of just, taking a step laterally to move out of the fall zone, they go underneath it. Who would do that? Quick, we have to race the car to the bottom. And then if the car did fall, it would bounce around unpredictably off branches. It would not effectively drive down the trunk of the tree. And then that didn't bother me. Willful suspension of disbelief. I thought it was so silly because it was such a reach for action tension in a movie that doesn't need it. You have so much quality action tension that just... The car thing ended up being so silly. Also, another point of silliness, why would they house critical power infrastructure in this bizarre jungle shed? Like across the compound? Yeah, it's like, I get that maybe you don't think dinosaurs can access it, but is weather not a consideration? Wild animals not a consideration? It should clearly be right there. Other people accessing it? Like, that it just is silly to design it the way that they did. Timmy's fall from the electrified fence? No sense. Like, Grant is right under him. Timmy, you got to jump. Hurry. 1, 2, 3. He gets zapped. He flies like 25 feet horizontally. And then Grant is still there to catch him, even though Grant was just right under him. How the hell did the T-Rex just sneak into a building at the end? The Raptors finally corner them. It looks like they're finally done. T-Rex busts in to save the day. How did nobody notice that a T-Rex got inside the building? Yeah. Didn't seem to do any damage. It just snuck right in. And lastly... Did Hammond just bail on his entire staff? Throughout the movie, we see dozens, if not hundreds, of biolab staff, security staff, hospitality staff. Go? He just bails. And the whole point of the movie is, I really got to get this lawsuit threat under control. He just created how many wrongful death lawsuits by leaving all his people on the island to die with dinosaurs that are not under control. So, it's not perfect. Other thing, I'm out of time, so I'm not even going to discuss the Laura Dern, Sam Neill thing that's relevant. She says their age gap was inappropriate. I have some commentary there if you want to read about it. And I also
That's so stupid.
The eye candy Jeff Goldblum. For as much as I actually like his performance when he's injured in there with his shirt unbuttoned in this bizarre way.
I know. He's like, no one wants to bang you, dude.
And
he's supposed to be some kind of heartthrob. Ew.
Ellie wasn't even there in that scene. Laura Dern's character wasn't even there. So that was bizarre. But overall, it retains a point of honor and appreciation in my heart. It's a 5 out of 5 wiki movie. So it does earn the perfect rating.
Wiki, wiki, wiki.
Wiki, 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 wiki. We love you. You're very special.
I think it just, maybe there is nostalgia factor, but I think it brought something in everyone's imagination to life in a way that may not be replicated again, just because with computer graphics, almost all of those things can be brought to life these days. And this movie did it in such an incredible way that we might just not see repeated.
Just Steven Spielberg, man. So in your face. There's no subtlety to him.
I loved it, but he really dropped the ball with The Lost World, and then it got even worse from there.
What else has he made? Schindler's List.
He's made Saving Private Ryan.
Oh.
You don't like Saving Private Ryan?
Oh, that movie also sucked my balls. Maybe I just hate Steven Spielberg.
Huh. I would be shocked to learn. I couldn't believe that would be the case.
Steven Spielberg.
Early audience vote heavily in the 5 wiki camp. Strong majority giving it a 5 wiki rating.
Really? I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Wow, I don't like any of these movies. Oh, Indiana Jones. There we go.
Next week, we have movie nominations from listener Kyle for the month of June. So next week's pick from the audience is RoboCop, which I have never seen.
Oh, sweet. I just watched it, coincidentally.
So
only Indiana Jones, it looks like.
June's remaining nominations from listener Kyle are A Few Good Men, The Jerk, Psycho, 8mm, Frailty, Boogie Nights, Any Given Sunday, or of course, you can reject the list and vote for a randomly selected top-rated movie instead. As a reminder, if you'd like to read my movie reviews, comment how wrong I am, submit your own rating, vote for the next movie, and sign up for the chance to be the movie nominator for the month. The one and only place to do it is in my weekly movie review column, linked in the description and on the homepage of the website. That is mattchristiansenmedia.com.